How we doing, everybody? You are looking live at my home in my downstairs guest bedroom where I do some podcasting here from time to time. I got Freddie Bolitnikoff behind me. We need a little Freddie love today. And I'm not happy with the Ryder Cup. I'm not happy at all. We are playing like garbage with the Ryder Cup. Not happy. But this is about beating the Bears. So today, I'm going to ask everybody what the score will be. We've been an absolute mess trying to pick the scores of the Raider games. I mean, we've been terrible. We've been freaking gross. So can I get somebody today to pick the score of this game and be realistic and give me a real number that I could work with in the monologue? Why am I yelling? I shouldn't be yelling. John Rahm is kicking our ass. Yes, the Euros are clutch.
Competitive edge in everything you're doing, you got to be on.
100%. I expect to win every time I come on the field. I don't care what we're doing. You know what I mean? It's every drill, everything we do. I'm expecting to win.
Your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years.
This is going to be a battle. This is going to be physical. This is going to be old school football.
Yes, sir. As a great man once said, just win, baby.
And now, here's JT the Brick.
Out of the gate, JT coming to you from the home studio today on the mean streets of Summerlin, Nevada. And we are ready to roll today. Hope everybody's having a great day. It is a Modelo Friday. Modelo. In about an hour and 59 minutes, I will have right outside, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see I'm pointing right outside to my backyard. I will have a bucket of Modelos, and I will lay out in the pool and watch the Ryder Cup as the United States of America is getting their butts kicked by the Europeans. Down 3-1 early and tied on the back as they're playing 4-ball. It's 2-2. Scotty Scheffler is getting pounded by John Rahm. Who had that? But that's where we're at. So hopefully the Americans can get going. The president of the United States flew in on Air Force One and helicoptered in, and the place is nuts. I was supposed to be there today. I canceled the trip Wednesday. I was supposed to be there today, but with the Raiders at 1-2 on the campaign, I didn't think it would be smart to be taking selfies of me drinking Modelos at Bethpage Black when I need to get back here and do my job on Sunday. So that's what we're going to do today, and we are opening up, and we want to hear from you. And I got one theme today. I cleared out pretty much the show. We're going to hear my conversation with Lincoln Kennedy and Eric Allen next hour, and also my exclusive interview with Pete Carroll, the head coach of the Raiders, which was earlier in the week. And we'll play that coming up at the top of the hour. I left the phones available for you to call in today. And as I told everybody who's watching the show on our YouTube stream, can somebody get the score right? The last couple of Fridays, we have all failed miserably in one topic, trying to figure out what the hell the score is going to be in the Raider game. I have callers saying 40, 35, blow out this. Can we fix this today like we're trying to fix the offensive line? Can we fix it? Can I get the score of the game today? Because we've been a mess, and I'll take the lead. I don't predict games. So you know me, I don't predict the score in games. But I let you do it, and everybody's all over the place. As Big D said, this is 23 straight games with less than 30 points. Oh, my God. Big D, is that true? 23 straight games with less than 30 points? That is true? I can't even imagine that being true, but Big D's pretty good. So 100% true. So we can't score 30. We can't score 30 until we do score 30 and wake up. Now, I don't know many people that think the Raiders are going to flip the switch. But here's the good news. The Bears just did that less than a week ago at Soldier Field in Chicago, where they pummeled the Dallas Cowboys, who are not a bad team. The Cowboys got good players, and the Cowboys got boat raced in the second half. Caleb Williams was the NFC Offensive Player of the Week, which means he was the best player in the conference. And they're on a flight. I would assume they're flying out today. I don't know. And they're coming to Vegas. and they want to keep that flying show going. So what they're going to do, I'm a big believer, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If I'm Ben Johnson, all I'm doing is attacking the Raiders deep. I'm saying Caillou Blue Kelly, that kid, we're going to attack him deep. Eric Stokes, that other guy, we're going to attack him deep. Jeremy Chin, we're going to try to get him up in the box, and then we're going to go over his head. That's the game plan for Chicago. The Bears aren't coming to town looking to run it down our throats. The Bears are looking to take the former Heisman Trophy winner in Caleb Williams and Roma Dunze, who played at Bishop Gorman with my son, and they're going to try to open it up. And that's even before they get to DJ Moore, and they got a really good tight end. So we better be ready to cover somebody. And the only way that this team is going to be able to cover someone is if they end up getting a pass rush. So this would be, for me, I'm not saying last chance. I've been pretty dramatic this week, haven't I? I've been very dramatic this week. That's why I want to get in the pool and have a bucket of Modelo's in less than 2 hours. To me, this is the Tyree Wilson game. If we can't get nothing out of Tyree in this game, what are we doing? I mean, what are we doing? It's year 3. He's big and strong. He's the biggest, tallest, fit guy on the field. We kind of need him in this game. Malcolm Kuntz, kind of need you too. Mad Max Crosby seems to be doing a lot of the work. The linebackers got to show up and play well. God, can we get a linebacker to cover a pass? We're going to have to, because I think the Bears are going to be running a lot of short passing routes to try to get the ball out quickly, because they're going to try to throw it in between the linebackers and the defensive line. We better get a linebacker to cover. We got to do that. So with all of this on the defensive side, someone's got to have a game. Can someone tell me in the chat or on X at JT the Brick, other than Max, can someone specifically name when was the last time we had a defensive player who had a great game? Bueller? Anybody? Can someone off the top of their head tell me the last time a member of the Las Vegas Raiders, other than Max Crosby, had a great defensive game? Do we have to go back to Jack Jones? I mean, who? Someone tell me. Who's the last? Jack Jones versus Kansas City. I mean, what's going on? We're paying a whole bunch of guys on the defensive side of the ball other than Max Crosby to make a play. When are we going to do it? When are we going to do it? I'm not asking you to be Howie Long. I'm not asking you to be Lester Hayes. But can someone make a play? So that's something I wanted to get to right here in the monologue. If you want to get through, it's 702-365-9200. I'm looking for the score of the game. I'm looking for the score. I'm assuming you're going to pick the Raiders to win. I would hope. And if you do, how are we going to win this game? I don't know where you're setting the bar high. I would say if the Raiders can score near 24 points, that would be a good day, because they don't. And this team really struggles offensively to score. So it's Kenny Clark saying, and others are saying 2017, I'll take it all day long. Just like I'll take the Ryder Cup to win one of these matches today. But we need someone to get in the end zone. People are paying a lot of money to sit in the Champions Club and to sit in those suites and even to sit in the 400 section. We need some touchdowns. We need some people to step up and play football and entertain us and score some touchdowns and do their job. And this is going to be a big game. Coach Pete Carroll, I wanted to start off. This has gone viral. NFL Network had it this morning when Vinny Bonsignore asked Pete Carroll about the offense, if there was any chance of moving JPJ back to center, which it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. Here's what Pete Carroll said earlier in the week on the offensive line.
A lot of time with these guys playing in their spots. I know you're interested in JPJ. This is an official week to practice and to get ready. Last week was not that. So he's ready to compete for the playing time, and he and Alex will be going at it. So it's a good situation in that regard.
When you say competing for playing time,
you got Jackson and anybody in 2 weeks. We got to see what he can do. So we got to check him out and see how he does.
All right, that was a pretty important soundbite, because I was talking about this last night. Got some buddies in town who were out here early for some concerts and the Raider game. And I was explaining that what Pete Carroll said, most grown-ass men can take that and understand it. Pete Carroll explained to the entire Raider Nation that Jackson Powers Johnson hasn't been available due to a concussion. So why is everybody blanking and moaning on Twitter, social media, screaming for Jackson Powers Johnson to play center when the head coach told you he hasn't been on the field and hit anybody in 2 weeks? Why are we having such a difficult time understanding the answer that Pete Carroll gave you on that? It's pretty cut and dry. He hasn't been ready to play. Now, I don't know what his medical history is. I'm not a doctor, but he's been concussed a number of times. I don't know the number. So maybe people should start looking into that a little bit more and say, look, the kid missed a whole training camp last year in Costa Mesa. He's missed games. He's missed practices for concussions. Maybe he isn't getting the work in that you think he's getting in because you're not at practice. So Pete Carroll gave us the answer. He gave it to us. It doesn't mean that Jackson Powers Johnson can't be a Pro Bowler and a great Raider and even play center down the road. But this week, week 4, coming into it, he hasn't been ready. And Pete's always going to say that we're competing. And for whatever reason, he's still competing at right guard, which I find a surprise that he would have to be competing with Alex Kappa. But then again, they signed Alex Kappa to some pretty significant money to make the team and help out at the position. So with all that being said, that's what Pete Carroll said. So I want your opinion on that today if you want to add that to your final score. Are you able to come to grips with this, Raider Nation? We all had a really difficult time this week coming to grips with some basic stuff. A grown-ass coach who's 74 years old told you what he thought about this offensive line, and you're not dealing with it well. You think you know more than the coach? You think you're better than the coach? You think you're like really smarter than Pete Carroll? And you're questioning him. Everybody's questioning him, it seems, at times. So we got the answer. And that's, I think, a pretty good answer overall. Now we get a chance to hear from Chip Kelly on what Chip Kelly thinks about this. And I think this is a really good explanation on why Jordan Meredith is playing over JPJ.
Playing center for us in terms of what we want call-wise, putting us in the right protection.
This is a minute long.
Is what you're looking for in the center in this league. He reminds me a little bit, I'm not going to say he is, but he reminds me a lot of Jason Kelsey that I had when I was in Philly. He's got a long way to go. Jason's a Hall of Famer, but he's that type of player. We're really excited about what Jordan's doing at center.
Jackson hasn't played the last 2 games. What do you miss without him out there? What do you hoping? What are you getting back when he does come back?
He's a bigger body, so, and I think that's one reason why he's a better guard. He's built more like a guard than he is like a center. Jordan's built a little bit more like a Kelsey, an athletic guy, pull, get out in space, all those other things. Jackson is a tough, hard nose. There's a lot of big 3 techniques in this league.
10.
How do you handle a guy at the 3 techniques? So having a bigger body at the guard spot is what he is, and his toughness is always a positive to what we're doing.
Wow. So that's a pretty good answer. Thanks to Clay for grabbing those 2 sound bites. That's the show. There's your radio show today. Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly explained to you, the gatekeepers of the Raider Nation, why Jackson Powers Johnson is not the starting center. And you should be able to handle that now. We should be able to close the chapter this week on that topic. Now, I don't know what the chapter is going to be on Monday. I'm hoping on Monday the Raiders win and we have a victory Monday and everybody's in a good mood and we're not 1-3. 1-3 would not be good around here right now. We need to get off the 1-3 potential train and get to 2-2. I think 2-2 would be fantastic for this team. It would give everybody the opportunity, including our listeners and callers and the host, to press the pause button and say, we're okay. We're okay. We're 2-2. And the next 2 games are against Daniel Jones and the Tennessee Titans after that, the worst team in football. But we got to get to 2-2. We have to. We got to win this game. The Bears weren't very good last year. I don't think the Bears roster is better than the Raiders. They have some players who are better than some of the Raiders players, but they don't have Brock Bowers. They don't have Max Crosby. They don't have some of the players that we have. So we got to make sure in the Raider Nation we win this game. So that's part of what Chip Kelly is thinking. Man, that was such a really good answer from Chip to try to calm everybody down a bit. Chip Kelly was also asked about the run game, which hasn't gotten going with Ashton Genty. Here's what the offensive coordinator said.
I think it's the defenses right now. If you look at statistically, Ashton's tied for 10th in the league for carries with 2 other guys. So of the top 12 backs in the national
1 minute.
3 games, there's only 4 guys that average over 4 yards a carry. So Jonathan Taylor, Kyron Williams, Bijan Robinson, and there's one more, and Cook from Buffalo. Everybody else, Saquon Barkley averages 3.3 yards a carry. McCaffrey averages 3 yards a carry. So Ashton's right in the bunch with those guys right now. I think across the league through the first 3 games, the defenses are ahead of the offenses right now in the NFL, and at a big rate, like not till like 2007 or something, when you go back to the amount of total offense for offenses through the first 3 games is the lowest it's been in about 15 or 20 years. So that's this league. Sometimes the defenses are ahead and then the offenses catch up and then it goes back and forth, and that's just the nature of this game. But when you look across the league, and some really good backs, and it's surprising me today, in Saquon's got like 60 carries, but he has 3.3 yards a carry, and that's a good offensive line. Throughout the league that there's a lot of the defense is doing a good job.
All right, I thought that was a really good explanation from Chip Kelly on why we have to have patience with the running game. He broke down, that was a pretty good analysis of what's happening, but we all know what the elephants, not an elephant, multiple elephants in the room are. We can't block anybody. We can't block anybody in the passing game where Geno was sacked 5 times, and we can't open up any holes in the running game so far. So this is an underperforming offensive line coming into a home game where everybody seems to know the position they're going to play. The coaches made it clear in their press conferences, and now those players have to go out there and play well. That's it. If they don't play well, we're going to have another week of this and maybe another 2 weeks of it. The offensive line is the eyesore of this football team right now. Currently, we got to clean that up and get some makeup on it and hope the swelling goes down. These guys got to play their ass off. They can't jump. They can't have false starts. They can't make mistakes. They have to be better in protection, and they have to block like they mean it. We had Steve Wisniewski on this week. Steve Wisniewski is one of the gentlest human beings I've ever talked to in my life. And when he went out on the field, he was an absolute animal. Something clicked in his mind. I would say the same thing about the great Lincoln Kennedy. If you know Lincoln, if you've had a cigar with him, if you've sat down and had a cocktail, Lincoln might be one of the sweetest, greatest people you've ever met. When the game started, Lincoln Kennedy was a mauler. He was an animal. The late John Vella. How would you like to have been John Vella, knowing that it's going to be hard to make the Pro Bowl because you're playing with Upshaw and Shell, and they're getting all the praise? Henry Lawrence, his birthday is today. Killer. Henry Lawrence. He could be a Hall of Famer. He won 3 Super Bowls. He's a 2-time Pro Bowler, but everybody was talking about who? Upshaw and Shell. 2 legends. Well, we don't have any legends on this offensive line. Colton Miller's never made a Pro Bowl. He's a very good player, Colton Miller. I always said it about Derek Carr. Derek Carr never won a playoff game. Derek Carr was a very good player. So there's no one on that offensive line who's going into their trophy room at home going, look at me, I won 2 Super Bowls, or I'm a Pro Bowler. All of these guys got to look in the mirror and play more physical and violent football. You don't practice in pads most of the week. You're flying on chartered planes. You're staying at the 4 Seasons. You get all your meals cooked for you. You get treated great by the conditioning and staff. And you got to show up and play your ass off on Sunday. That's all I see. I got a lot more to say on this game, but I'd like to hear from you, 702-365-9200. I want to get your opinion, the final score of the game. What's going to change in this game? What do you need to see on Sunday at Allegiant Stadium? I don't know how many Bears fans there's going to be, but there's going to be a lot of them. And Raider fans were epic in the first game. That was a beautiful home field advantage against the Chargers. We are not going to have that same home field advantage against the Bears. We're going to need Raider fans to wear black, be loud, be intense, and try to drown out the Bears. And hopefully the Bears don't have a lot to cheer about. I'm hoping. Bob from Chicago is listening on the Raiders mobile app. Hello, Bob.
27-17, Raiders are going to take this one. And why? Because the defense is going to step up when they have to. I see it happening, JT. I'm coming out from Chicago with a bunch of Bear fans, but I'm the one that's gonna go home happy. Bring it home.
Wait a second. You're a Raider fan from Chicago, flying out here with Bears fans. How great are you? You should go downtown to Fremont Street as my guest for Mark Jones and the Black Hole. Everybody should buy you beer. You're coming out with your Bears, buddy, but you're Raider Nation.
Go Raiders.
All right, there you go. Bob in Chicago. Bob in Chicago is coming out here. Good. Thanks for starting it off. Thank God I have a radio show on in Chicago on top of Vegas. Let's hear. We call it Friday Roll Call. We want to hear from fans all over the country. We hear from Chicago. I got a map right here. I take Chicago and I hit a check mark. Let's hear from the Pacific Northwest. Let's hear from Florida. Let's hear from New York. Let's hear from Vegas and Oakland. Let's get some people going today as we get going. Scotty Scheffler is a bleeping mess. John Rahm 2-up with Straka on Scheffler and Spawn. Cantlay and Burns are getting boat raced by McIlroy and Lowry. The only guys that are winning for us are Young and Thomas and Griffin and DeChambeau. So in the 4-ball, second half of the day, there are 4 teams out, and it's 2-2, and we're already down 3-1 from this morning. Not the ideal start. 702-365-9200. The monologue is brought to you by PTs. They fuel the monologue, 5 to 7, midnight to 2. All your favorite PTs taverns, and there are many of them. There's over 70. Will be showcasing college football all Saturday. And you can jump into a PT's or one of their taverns, the Sierra Gold, Sean Patrick's, the SG Bar right up the street from my house at the 215 in Flamingo. And you'll get half-price drinks from 5 to 7. And there's some really good college football. I'd go check it out. River Raider is out in beautiful Lake Havasu. How hot is it out there today? It's 91 degrees here in Vegas. What's it like on Havasu?
I'm a first-time caller, a long-time listener, and I love your show. Thank you for the energy you bring to Raider Nation every day.
Thank you. I appreciate it. What's on your mind? Give me the score. How do we win this game? How do we go get a W and get to 2-2?
What we got to do is we got to score 26 points and hold them to 23. That's my prediction. I think that Ashton, Jenny, and Gino are going to split 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, 2 for one of them and 1 for the other. I don't care how they do it, but they got to get it done. The offensive line has got to gel. Those guys They got to build that brotherhood that you talked about with Steve Wisniewski, because he's spot on it, man. They got to be together up front, and they got to put those guys on the Browns defense down. And you know what? We got to have another breakout performance from Lualu, and Kuntz has to step up. And I know what you said, JT. You said Tyree has to make an impression. And I'm looking for him to do that. He's got to make that first-round pick count for him, and he's got to put himself in the box score to make a Raider impression on the rest of the nation. And that's what we're looking for him. Tyree, you got to be there for us. Caillou Blue Kelly, you got to step up and do what Pete wants you to do. You got to be that rookie that Pete has confidence in and be the second Legion in Vegas. I don't know, JT. All I know is I've been a Raider fan since 1968. I do know who Gene Upshaw is. I know who Art Shell is. I know who Kenny Stabler is. I know who Blitnikoff is. And I know that this team has to live up to the alumni's dream of what being a Raider is.
Wow. Have a nice time on Lake Havasu. How about that? Clay Baker, if you'd like to join us, how about that from Lake Havasu? If I wasn't here today at Backyard Brick, wouldn't it be great if you and I were on Lake Havasu on a boat with a bucket of Modelo's, cruising under that bridge and enjoying a beautiful day of sun and fun? Does he call your show in the morning? River Raider. I like that. All Raider fans have names. I even texted Raider Mike today, the original Raider Mike. I said, Raider Mike, we need a call from you today. So hopefully he checks in. All right, that's the monologue. I have Cliff Atkinson. He's the president of Virgin Hotels. They're our proud partner. I'm going to a concert with him tonight, America. Clay's going to play a little America today, which I'm excited about. I'm going to Motley Crue tomorrow. Girls, 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 rocking in Atlanta down in Tattletales. We're ready to roll, man. And I got the Raiders on Sunday. How great is this? Let's celebrate the Raider Nation today and get going. 702-365-9200. When we come back, I'll get into what Geno needs to do and what Geno has to do. You know, he's second in the entire NFL in passing yards. That looks good at the end of the year, man. When you got 4,300 yards, Geno's on pace for that. But is Geno going to win some games? I love the way Geno handles the microphone, and he's ready to go and win this game. This is Raider Nation Radio. Did I see my friend Carla? Carla, did I see you in there, Carla? What's happening? Santa Clara. That's Niner country, Carla. Big D, we're getting hammered. We are getting hammered. The Euros are kicking our ass. I hate the fact that these wives are all on the golf course with their matching Rolexes and sundresses. I'd say the same thing if it was the female Ryder Cup and the husbands were on golf carts. Get them off the course. All right. We're going to do a shorty today. I'm only going to be streaming here for a little bit longer because I'm in the house. And second hour of the show is my Pete Carroll interview. And then a nice conversation with Lincoln Kennedy and Eric Allen. And then I'm going to get those Modelos on ice at about 1 o'clock. And then have a couple of Modelos. You're not supposed to hear anybody but me on YouTube. It's just me. Look at the wall. My wife put that together. My wife put up a couple things to make it look passable. Messy Jesse, why would anyone take their wife golfing? You're right. I think the wives who all go to the Ryder Cup and get their free gift bag and are running around on golf carts pisses me off. Oh. Keegan's pumped up now. God, I love watching the Ryder Cup, man. I love it. Tommy Fleetwood and Justin Rose are one down to DeChambeau and Griffin. And Tommy just hit a wonderful shot. Wonderful shot. He's good. Now here's DeChambeau. His second shot on the par 4. Doesn't look like he hit a good one. Let me see. Not bad. Middle of the green. Probably a 25-foot putt. We got 546 people in here. That's a nice number with Twitter and YouTube. Yeah, I'm going to go see this band tonight, America, at the Virgin Hotels. Turn it up, Clay. They got a lot of good songs. I listened to their Essential album the other day. It was fantastic. So Cliff Atkinson will join us. He's the president of Virgin Hotels in a little bit. We promote our partners here. We want to tell everybody about the M Resort Spa and Casino. That's where the Raiders stay. That's where their draft picks stay when they get drafted. They got the Raiders Tavern and Grill. They got Anthony's. They got a beautiful pool where they have a lot of concerts, movies. Head on out to the M right there off the 15 as you're driving into Vegas, man. You can't miss it. The new second tower is going up too. So thanks to our partner over at M Resort. We're taking your phone calls today. I mentioned about Geno and what Geno's going to have to do. He's going to have, I think, a little bit more time. I think the offensive line is going to play better. The Bears are third worst in the league in pass rush win rate at 23.3%. and have only recorded 5 sacks on the year. They also blitz at the lowest rate in the NFL, 4%. Wow, they don't bring much. They drop into coverage, so Geno's going to have to be really good at this point. He's going to have to be great. Let's get out to Gabriel in Las Vegas on 9:20 a.m. What's happening, Gabe?
First time I had a chance to call, just because I drive around the city all day. I want to call in for this one here. I think we're going to win this one 24-20. I would like to see the run game come back in some shape or form, whatever that means, whether it's Geno taking off for a couple long runs or if it's going to be Genty taking over. Just don't want us to beat ourselves, and then just play hard Raider football, and that's all I can ask for. Moving on.
All right, thanks a lot. I think that score is reasonable. Thanks for calling in. I think that's a fair score because the Raiders don't score 30. They haven't had an explosive game in a long time, in a really long time. So I think 24-20 would be great. Holding Caleb Williams to 20 points is going to be tough. Tommy Martin just checked in on the YouTube stream. He said, JT, this is River Raider. Thanks for taking my call. I'm sorry I lost you at the end. I'm driving back from California from taking care of my mom. Thanks a lot, Tommy. Appreciate it. River Raider. Keep calling in. Yeah, I think that score is about right, 24-20. I just believe it's going to be hard to hold Caleb Williams to 20 points, but we held Justin Herbert to 20. Remember the Chargers after that opening interception where they got 3, and they only scored 17 points the entire game after that. And obviously that was the last Raider home game, and the Raiders are going to have to step up and play at a really good level to compete in this game. We need them to play at a very high level to compete in this game and get going here. A home game where they should hopefully be ready to get the ground game going. Jose is in Berkeley, California. Thrilled to have you, man. What's happening? Thanks for calling. What's happening? Yeah, you're on the radio. Go ahead. Thanks.
The Raiders, it's time of shine right now. Like, I hope all the Raiders fans show up and, like you say, pound their chest and just go Raider Nation. I say Raiders win 2027. Let's go Raiders.
All right. That's what you get. I want better phone calls than just calling in with the score. All right. I know I asked for the score, but I'd like some people to check in and tell me how the game is going to develop. 702-365-9200. Because Geno, he played under pressure in Washington. He should have more time to get back to what he does best and driving the ball downfield, establishing this running game a little bit better. Last week, the Raiders allowed 174 yards on the ground in the first half to the Commanders. 174 yards rushing in the first half. Unacceptable. The Bears are currently the 30th ranked rushing offense in the league. 30th ranked out of 32. But the Raiders aren't much better. The Raiders have been a terrible rushing team for 2 years now, going on 2 seasons. So this will be a 125 kickoff to late kickoff, 125 at Allegiant Stadium. So I'm looking at all the stats that they provided me with, and a lot of the stats tell me that the Raiders are going to have to embrace the shootout and score. I mean, I think everybody understands we want to get the running game going to set up the pass because we're going to need the pass to score. I'd like to see Zeus or maybe Raheem Mostert if he gets activated, or someone to step up and score inside the 5-yard line on a rushing touchdown. But I think the Raiders are going to have to throw it in the end zone. You got to bombs away with Geno. I mean, it worked well with Trey Tucker. Trey Tucker had a hell of a game. The first play of the game, Jacoby Myers went for 45 yards, untouched? Those routes that we're running in Henderson are open. How many times have I told everybody, run the plays that you're running in Henderson? All those drag routes to Brock Bowers, all those bombs to Trey Tucker that's working, they work beautifully in Henderson. Now we got to run the ball the way we're running it in Henderson. The problem is we can't get this offensive line in pads during the week in practice, so they haven't hit anybody and they're not playing well. Cliff Atkinson, my good friend, is the president of Virgin Hotels, Las Vegas. They got a big weekend. They always have a big weekend. America tonight in the theater. Cliff, thanks for doing this. How are you? I couldn't be better. I saw you at the last game. The Raiders were struggling, but I said the Chargers only scored 20. And I think Caleb Williams is coming into town to try to put up more than 20. The Bears looked really good. Hopefully the Raiders play well in front of you coming up on Sunday. Yeah, we're all hoping for excitement and energy. Tell me what's going on property. You got a really great, iconic band tonight in America. You know how many concerts I've seen, you've seen throughout my life. I haven't seen this band. My wife and I are thrilled to see them. I played their songbook the other day. They have some of the greatest and most memorable songs in the history of this country. Tell us about the theater. As you know, my DNA goes back to that when it was, the joint, and we'd go in there and then the money that was put in, and you're always upgrading it. It looks brand new every time I go in there. And it really is a signature concert hall in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Cliff Atkinson's our guest. Getting Kiss to reunite there is going to be huge. And, F1's off in the distance, but not too far away. Tell our audience how you secured that group that comes in. You have multiple F1 teams that stay on property. You're right behind the paddock. It's real easy for fans to get in and out of there. It really is the perfect spot for F1. Cliff Atkinson, president, he joins us from Virgin Hotels. Finally, with all the talk nationally about Vegas and the new ad campaigns that's going on, I always tell people that you got to get a room. at Virgin Hotels. If it's in the Ruby Tower, the Canyon Tower, wherever it is, the rooms are amazing. What do you do and tell people typically, or how should I tell all of our audience in Raider Nation, just to look at the room rates and stay there because it's such a great property with so much entertainment going on, Cliff?
Deals and things that are happening in the strip maybe change. Virgin does mean value. You got a quality room. We've got everything from burgers and tacos at Lucia, $5 tacos. It'll be the best taco you've ever had. Plus, we've got Nobu. We've got One Steakhouse. We got Cassie Beach Club. That's running 7 days a week through October. And my favorite Raiders tie-in, Brick, you knew I was going to say this, the Shag Room. I've got David Perico's wife, Lily Arcee, her band Pop 40 every Saturday night, including tomorrow night.
Absolutely. Cliff, I'll see you tonight. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for your partnership with us on Raider Nation Radio. We really appreciate you. You got it. There he is, everybody. Cliff Atkinson, the president of Virgin Hotels, Las Vegas. And it's kind of where I go. If you know me, I'm always there. I'm hanging out with my buddy J.O.D. at One Steak at the bar, and it's just fantastic. And room rates are great. And I think everybody who needs to get a room when they come to Vegas, make sure you're calling Virgin. We got a lot of properties here we represent. Cliff knows it. We got Fontainebleau. We got Resorts World. We got M Resort. All of Boyd Gaming. Boyd Gaming has 10 properties. So I'm very casino friendly on this show. The Strat is Golden Entertainment. Right? So we got plenty of casino properties that we represent. But Virgin is where I started. That's where I met my wife. That's where everything started for me. I would not be here on the radio today if my wife didn't save me by meeting her walking into the Rolling Stones at the Hard Rock as we were strangers. So you better believe I love that place, and I love it now as Virgin. So head on out there. 702-365-9200. Next hour, right at the top of the hour, my conversation with Pete Carroll. And I want to hear what you think of what Pete told me. A lot of people bust my blank. JT, are you going to ask him a tough question? I ask every coach the basic questions, and many of them are tough, especially when they're not winning. It's very easy when they're winning. They haven't won in a while. Antonio Pierce lost 10 in a row. Pete's lost 2 out of 3. But he talked about it with me. That's coming up at the top of the hour on Raider Nation Radio. All right, everybody, that is it for me. It's JT Raw. I know you can't hear the callers that well and all that. It'll be better in the studio on Monday. So I hope everybody, Big D, Scheffler needs to sit his ass down tomorrow. Wow. 3 up and McIlroy's 2 up. We better win those other matches, man. So thanks everybody. I appreciate everybody. And 1 and 2, I just called to be placed on hold so I can hear both guests. Great. Appreciate everyone. Have a great day.